Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another Buffalo SportsCenter video. I am Don, and today we are talking about the brand new Buffalo Bills Stadium news. Today it was announced by the government, mainly Governor Kathy Hochul, that the Bills and the state had agreed to a new 30-year stadium deal that would keep the Bills in Buffalo. The stadium will cost $1.4 billion, $850 million of which will be funded through the taxpayers both in Erie County and the entire New York State. $200 million will be coming from the NFL and mainly the NFL owners, with the rest coming from just the Pagulas. And that will be about $400 million of their own money. And reaction to this news has been pretty divided, I would say. Nah, not so divided, more angry. A lot of downstaters, people that live in Albany, New York City, Long Island, they're upset by this deal because they are going to be taxed for something that they probably will never see benefit them. Whereas Bills fans are relieved, but cringing at the total cost of the stadium. And there has been a lot of backlash and a lot of hate today against the Pagulas. But let's talk about some of the main caveats of the stadium deal. And the biggest of which for me is that the stadium will no longer be owned, the new stadium of course, will be no longer owned by Erie County. Instead, New York State will own it, which means there could be more events, more concerts, more things like that could be hosted at the arena instead of going to Mark Poloncarz, the comptroller for Erie County, and the county executive as well. And another new thing is that Mark Poloncarz, who we just mentioned, wants the stadium to be multi-purpose, and he was especially talking about soccer games that could be played in Buffalo, in Orchard Park in the future at this new stadium. And while that may not seem to be a very good cost or benefit of $850 million, and trust me, it's not. I'm not defending how much the taxpayers have to shoulder on this. I'm just saying that there's going to be a couple of new benefits with this stadium. Now, let's talk about some of a lot of negatives regarding this deal. Number one, the seating capacity will be around 60,000, which is a 10,000 seat decrease from the current Highmark Stadium, also in Orchard Park. Another thing is that the stadium is going to still remain in Orchard Park, and when we're talking about what's possible in Buffalo, I think Orchard Park was always going to be it. But for those looking for that downtown Bills stadium, they're probably going to be really disappointed. And I think that people who also were hoping that the city of Buffalo could host a Super Bowl, they're also going to be disappointed because I highly doubt that even with the new stadium that the NFL is going to let the Super Bowl come to a winter city that's probably not going to be a dome as well. And another thing, I mentioned it earlier, but downstaters will not see the benefit. They will be getting taxed a lot over the next 10 years to repay these costs, and they're probably not going to see the benefit. And that is why many of the Albany representatives, many of those on the Democratic side and the Republican side, are both against this deal. And this was announced on March 28th, and this was apparently a deal had been pretty closely agreed for a while. It's just that Hochul wanted to announce it when it was politically advantageous for her, as she is running for governor this year. And for her, this deal is very bad because people on both sides are going to attack her for this deal. And I'm not sure that a lot of Buffalonians are even in favor of this deal because a lot of it is going to be funded by the taxpayers. And we are currently in a recession. There is a lot of stuff going on in the real world, and I'm not sure that many taxpayers want to talk about and pay for an $850 million stadium that's going to be used for 8 home games a year at the minimum. That can be used, the stadium, just thinking about it right now, it can be used anywhere from 8 million or 8 times to maybe 16 at the most if you are really hoping and pushing up that number be through concerts and events and stuff. But still, that price tag is really tough to look at, really, really tough. And as someone that I don't pay taxes yet, but I can certainly tell that taxpayers are pissed about this, as I would be too. Like, You don't want to put money into a stadium that could have easily been funded by the Bills' billionaire owners. Terry and Kim Pegula, of course, are shouldering only $400 million of the total costs to build the stadium, and they have a combined net worth of around $6 billion. So this is really pissing fans off that the billionaires are not going to be funding a $1 billion stadium. Instead, they're putting it on the public. And looking at the total cost, the public will be funding 60% of the cost for this new stadium, which is large, but it's not as bad as some of the other newly built NFL stadiums. The average over the last 10 years for newly built stadiums is around 70% is taxpayer funded. This one is only 60%. So I guess you can look at it through a ruby lens glass there, but overall it's a really tricky situation, really expensive situation that's finally been resolved. It will keep the Bills in Buffalo for at least the next 30 years. So if you're a diehard Bills fan, thanks. Thanks, Kathy. Thanks, the negotiators on the PSE, Pagula Sports Entertainment side, that they're keeping the Bills in Buffalo. But for a lot of people, this deal will not benefit them, but they will have to shoulder a lot of the costs. So I just wanted to talk about that very quickly. I know that a lot of other people have talked about it, but I want to thank you all for watching this video today. I was Don. This is Buffalo Sports Center. Let's get to 1K subscribers and see you on the next video. Peace.